You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, you knew they would not make it easy for you, but you know what? They found a way to the victory, did the Houston Astros today, and glory, hallelujah. They beat the Yankees once this season. Celebrate, people. They didn't get skunked by New York in 2024. For all the years of dominating the Bronx Bombers, the tides really turned this year, and the Astros found a way, barely, to hold on to that victory. Don't lie to yourself. When Josh Hader put that runner on there in the ninth, you thought to yourself, this thing's going to end. They're going to tie this game up, or they're going to hit a home run and win it. But guess what? They didn't, as they get the 4-3 win, and they head out on the road now to take on the Detroit Tigers in Detroit. By the way, welcome to the Locked On Astros Postcast tonight. Thank you for joining us every single night here live on YouTube, the Locked On Sports Houston page. Excuse me. And, of course, we're with you every night. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, please tell your friends. That's a gift of giving. The Astros gave us a gift of winning a baseball game. Could you give me a gift and spread the word of this channel, the Locked On Sports Houston page, to 10 people? 10 people each. Tell them to hit the subscribe button. That would be very nice. Tonight's show, by the way, here on the Locked On Astros Postcast is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Game off. We got to talk about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing prizes, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go now for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Bad series, we know that. It was a bad series in New York, but you found a way through it. You found a way to being the team today that walked away and got to fist pump each other or high five each other, slap each other on the rear end, whatever it is that you wanted to do on your way down to the dugout. Only the 13th time that this team has done that this season. It's still pretty mind-blowing to think. 13-24 now are the Astros. 11 games under 500 still. You do not like the fact still that they're that far under 500. But when you go and look at this month, I guess I'm trying to put the numbers together here. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. No, they're 4-4. Never mind. I was trying to say, hey, they have a winning record in the month of May. No, they don't. They're 500. You know what? The Astros are 500 in May. Positive vibes. I want nothing but positivity today on this show because, dang it, for one day I want to live in the world of happiness. The Astros are the Yankees' daddy, like they've been for years, and they're going back to the World Series in 2024. Did I say yesterday on this show that they're not making the playoffs? Yeah, but today I'm going to sit here and tell you they're going to the postseason. They're going to win the World Series again. It's going to happen. You might as well just learn to live in the fact that that's going to happen. Obviously, the big storylines of this baseball game, excuse me, the big swings from Yordan Alvarez, the big swing from John Singleton, which just absolutely crushed. Now, John Singleton's not hitting for a massive amount of batting average, but credit to John Singleton. He has had an opportunity now to play, and right now he's taking advantage of it. And he is solidifying his roster spot. No matter what happens moving forward, which if they go back, let's just say Jose Abreu shows back up tomorrow. If they were to go back to Jose Abreu, first of all, what are you doing? That would be stupid on the Astros' part. But secondly, John Singleton has outplayed him, which I do think, let's go to the hypothetical world that suddenly Brian Abreu, who actually had an outing tonight where he got outs and didn't give up runs. Sorry, Jose Abreu here. John Singleton is a better player than him, but my goodness, what a blast! So way back in the day, when and I say way back in the day, this was just a couple of years ago. I've been to New York to Yankee Stadium 3 times for games. All 3 times they were in the ALCS. It was a lot of fun to go there and watch the Astros. Well, the first time that they went, they did not win a single game there. They lost all 3 of them. But then the next 2 times we went, they won some games there. I can't remember how many games they won it in 6 in 2019, right? They won the series in 6 games, so I think they won at least 1 or 2 up there in New York in that series. I think they won 2 up in New York, and then the last time, of course, they won the 2 games that they had because they swept the series. But that ball that John Singleton hit when we would go for those games as media members, that third level, all the way at the top level, would be where they'd put us in the postseason for auxiliary seating. I would literally sit on the top row, and that's almost where John Singleton hit that baseball tonight. And I just watched it and go, man, I've sat up there a few times and watched baseball games. That's really far away, like really, really far to hit a baseball that far. Credit to him again for going out there and doing what he's doing. He's taking advantage of his opportunity, and the Astros could absolutely use it. Simple as that. You love to see it every single time out there. Yordan Alvarez, couple hits tonight for extra bases as well. We all know that the Astros need him in the worst way possible. I mean, just as simple as it gets. He cannot be this bad version of Yordan Alvarez that we've seen of late, because this version of Yordan Alvarez is probably the worst version of Yordan Alvarez that we've ever seen as a big leaguer, simply put. And having a big night like that tonight, a couple of those hits again early, including that home run, it had to feel good. His at-bats, and I was actually this morning, I was at the gym, and they play back the Astros game on Space City Home Network every night, which still, I don't know who decided that that's what you need to name the network. It doesn't make any sense. I know that it's a homage to the Home Network or whatever from back in the day, but it's a bad name. It's really, really bad. And the branding's bad. It looks bad. Just not good. They should have simplified it a lot more. You could have come up with something way better than that. I don't know. I didn't understand it. But they play the games back in the mornings, and so I usually am at the gym being stuck watching the Astros, lose again. And today it was them losing again. But you went back and I was watching, I was able to see the first couple of at-bats from Yordan. Now, albeit it was against a lefty last night, Yordan, but his at-bats, I don't think I've ever seen him look as awful in at-bats than he did last night. Horrific, flailing and got the jelly legs and sticking his butt out and reaching for everything. And he was totally guessing. He wasn't even swinging anything close to the zone. Like, he's up there swimming in his own mind when that happens. And good news tonight is that he didn't have that early in the baseball game. He got the big hits when he needed to, and maybe that will be the thing that could spark him. Like, maybe. Now, look, again, I am not going to sit here and declare anything. I have done my declarations already. The Astros, I don't believe, will end up making the postseason this year. I don't think that they're good enough, and I hope that I'm wrong. Simple as that. I don't want to be right. I want to live with joy for the team that I have watched since I was a child. But could this game, of all the games, could this game maybe ignite something out of them? We needed to talk about that here in just a couple of minutes because, why not? Why not have some hope on a night that the Astros got to win? We will again do that here in just a brief second. But first, I need to tell you guys about a very big, important day coming up, which is Mother's Day. Have you thought about gifts yet? Do you like to have things delivered to where you don't have to go out and pick out the gift or anything, whatever it might be? Do you just like having things delivered to your door? I know I do. Who doesn't love convenience? I've used DoorDash plenty of times. And DoorDash is your spot for getting mom the right stuff on Mother's Day. Maybe she's got some sweet tooth. You will need to send her something, whether it's some chocolate-covered strawberries, whatever it might be that mom wants to indulge in. Maybe she loves flowers. You want to get her some flowers. Get those delivered with DoorDash. You absolutely can knock Mother's Day out of the park with DoorDash. Plain and simple. You're going to get 50% off your next order, up to $15. When you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now at DoorDash. Plain and simple. So again, get all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place. Get that 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with code LOCKEDONMLB. That's code LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. And one more thing to tell you about before we get back to our Astros discussion here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. And it's something that we talked about at the very beginning of the show, and that is Monopoly Go, because it's time for, well, game off. We got to pause here and talk more about that great game that is Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there is just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, or the more awesome prizes you can unlock. And there's so much to get, whether it's unique stickers you can trade with your friends, complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something new and fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Locked On Astros Postcast rolling on here. Thank you for joining us live on YouTube tonight. If you are new to the channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you are looking for this show in its podcast form, it is available anywhere that you get your podcast by going and searching for Locked On Astros, where you can find this show and the Locked On Astros show. Two great shows. Price $0, 0 cents. Who doesn't love it? This show with me after every game, and then the Locked On Astros show with Brett and Eric. They do a great job as well. So check out both shows again when you search for Locked On Astros wherever you get your podcast. And again, if you're listening to this on podcast, go over to YouTube, look for the Locked On Sports Houston page, and give us the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that bad boy because these shows will not just be Astros exclusive. Look, I know I've done Astros post games for a long time. I've also done Rockets in my past. We will have Rockets when the Rockets come along. We will have Texans when the Texans come along. We'll have Cougs. Cougs football gets going this fall as well. So you'll have plenty of opportunities to hear more from me talking about our Houston sports teams all year long. So again, go ahead and get yourself locked in and ready to go for a whole lot of fun on the Locked On Sports Houston page. So the Astros with the win tonight. Ronel Blanco, got to give the credit to him as well. I did not mention him in the first segment because I wanted to give him plenty of space here. Another solid outing. Ronel Blanco is 4-0 with a 2.22 ERA. Now, I did have some walks tonight, had 4 of them, but he struck out 6, gave up just 2 runs, 4 hits in the 5 2/3. Of course, gave up the 1 home run after he had a fielding blunder there that allowed a runner on with some bad, there's going to be some PFP work probably for Ronel Blanco in the very near future when the Astros get to Detroit. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with getting a little PFP in the middle of the season. Simple as that. Those guys need to stay fresh as well. For whatever reason, pitchers, you're never going to feel completely comfortable with pitchers throwing to first base at all, even if it's a spot where the pitcher is throwing an underhand like Blanco did there. But he's very good at throwing the ball overhand when he pitches, and that is the good news for the Astros. I mean, seriously, think about where this team would be without him. 8 wins? He's got 4. And, I've mentioned this before, but there's been a lot. You go, I think it's every Monday, MLB Net or MLB.com puts out their list of, and by the way, Blanco's done this in 7 starts this season now. A 2.23 ERA on the year. He's been exceptional. Is he the number 1 leading candidate in the American League? No, but I'm going to be honest with you. If they did Cy Young voting today and he didn't finish top 5, what are we doing? He's been that good. The guy threw a no-hitter. He took a no-hitter deep into the next start right after it. And I just overjoyed by the fact that somebody is stepping up in a big, big spot like he has. We all know that you missed Fromber for a good lengthy period of time. He's come back now. He's had one good start, and he's had one not-so-good start. Verlander came back finally. He looked good in his first couple, but the last one was the worst start of his Astros career against the Yankees in this series. Christian Javier is going to start this weekend. So is Fromber, by the way. So it'll be nice to have those two guys back. Hopefully Christian Javier. Like, the Astros are going to have, I assume, a lot better chances now with Blanco, with Fromber, with Javier, with Verlander to win baseball games consistently. They're going to have a lot better chances. They're not going to have the nights where, we talked about it last night's ball game. Spencer Arrighetti was not a guy that I don't think I think you're lying to yourself and to anybody else if you told me today that, hey, last night I expected Spencer Arrighetti to go out there and win the baseball game for the Astros. No, you didn't. You did not at all. You knew what was going to happen in that game last night. They were going to go out there, he was going to give up runs, and they were going to lose that baseball game. The good news with Arrighetti last night was that, he was at least able to eat some innings. That was big. And those things matter to these teams, especially for this Astros team, which, by the way, is now in a stretch of games. Their next off day is not until the 23rd of the month. So they're playing all next week, and then in the first, all the way through Wednesday of that following week before they get another day off, which will be, by the way, after this Tiger series that's coming up, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It's going to be a lengthy homestand for the Astros. It will be a 10-game homestand at Minute Maid Park. So they need you. Even if you're mad at them like I am for the way that they've played this season, they need you to show up. They need you to support them and make them feel good about themselves, I guess. Not necessarily feel good, but just you know what it means. The home support will matter. And if you're still holding out hope, like I think we all are, that maybe they can change our minds and turn something on, go out there and give them some love. Hope it works. Hope that they also get out of this weekend in Detroit unscathed and they play good baseball. That would really, really, help to the potential of being able to do that if they play good baseball. But maybe this can be the thing, that gets them going. Do I know it's going to be that? No, of course not. If I knew, I'd bottle all these things up and sell it to you for a bunch of money, and I'd be rich. And then I'd honestly not be doing these shows with you if I was rich. I shouldn't say that. I think maybe if I won the Powerball or the Mega Millions tonight, I might still keep doing this show. Maybe. Because, what else am I going to do? I need something, right? Just hang out with you guys. Maybe watch maybe, you know what? If the Powerball or the Mega Millions gets super huge again, let's all go in together and let's buy the Astros from Jim Crane. And you know what we'll do? We'll bring back home the prodigal son that is Jeff Luhnow to fix things. That's what we'll do. That's what we're doing with our money. So I don't even know if it's big right now. But the next time it gets big, we're winning it, and we're bringing it back to that. But good news today, of course. They won a baseball game. You don't have to drink yourself to sleep tonight on a thirsty Thursday. You can sit back, do what I'm going to do. Enjoy a nice, calm glass of vino on my couch after I take my dogs on a walk here in a few minutes when we get done with this show. And it's going to be a relaxing Thursday evening and a good, cool start to my weekend tomorrow on Friday. Of course, we'll do this show again tomorrow night after we get done with Astros and Tigers. It'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, if they win, we'll talk a lot about that series coming up in a few minutes as we start to wind down this show. But again, props to Ronel Blanco. He's been a godsend to this baseball team this season. He's been everything that they've needed and more. And you know what? If he doesn't get some sort of love in Cy Young discussion, what are we doing? Am I saying he's a leading candidate? Of course not, because he's not the leading candidate. That's okay. He doesn't need to be the leading candidate. He's been that good, though, that he at least deserves some love when it comes to people that are putting those conversations out on a daily basis. Let's talk a little bit about the Tigers series coming up this weekend when we return in just a brief moment, the Locked On Astros Postcast. But first, I need to tell you about how you should make the games a lot more fun this weekend, and that is PrizePicks. Have you downloaded the app yet? Why not if you haven't? If you have, good on you. Maybe you were also smart and you used the code Locked On MLB and you got that first deposit match up to $100. It makes games way more exciting with PrizePicks. You're picking more or less every single night when it comes to players. You can put together multi-sport cards together. It's a lot of fun to just go in there and enjoy. Maybe you're like me. We're getting a little late in the Premier League season. We're getting a little late in the Champions League. We got this, we got the final coming up and everything. I love the soccer. I love, football games that are available to me on PrizePicks. You can check that out. NBA as well. Playoffs. Come on now. NBA playoffs going on right now. Guess who I am loving hitting the more on basically everything this postseason? And I have been. Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He is just a lock for it. He is having himself one heck of a run. PrizePicks, as I mentioned, has something for every sports fan, from baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You could pick, well, not anymore, but you could pick Anthony Edwards. How about that? Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. They've got quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types that make PrizePicks the number one fantasy sports app. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's code LOCKEDONMLB when you download the app to get a first deposit match up to $100. Locked On Astros Postcast here on a Thursday evening. Thank you for joining me, Michael Connor, with you live after every single game. Astros sneaking out a victory tonight, 4-3. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I will sit here. I've always kind of done that. If you've listened to me for a long period of time, I don't typically lie to you, at least what you know. No, I really don't. I just kind of say it as it is, say it how I see it. What's the point of not doing that, right? I won't come on here and lie to your face and put on some shtick and some show or whatever. I'm just going to be me and tell you what I think. But yeah, I was sitting on the couch, totally expecting them to, blow this game. So as you see our little graphics and everything, and the thumbnails for the beginning of the YouTube video that will be up on the YouTube page here, which, by the way, if you're new to the YouTube page, please hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. If you're listening to this on podcast, head over to YouTube. Locked On Sports Houston is the page. Go hit the subscribe button there. But I make these, obviously, as the game going. Sometimes they get a little bit more specific than others. When the game is a blowout, it's very easy. But I'm sitting there making them for a win or a loss. And then I kind of load them both up ready to go for what I'm going to use. And I was getting ready to, I had the win graphics all loaded up and ready to go, and changed all the stuff for an Astros win. And I was like, you know what? I think they're probably going to end up losing this baseball game. Now look at me. Look what they've turned me into. I've always been an extreme optimist. That's been me. Like, not an extreme optimist. I've always been an optimistic person, a realistic optimistic person. I don't live in the clouds to where, I can't see through them at all. I feel like I can give you both. I try to always not be delusional is, I guess, the best way to put it. And, I guess I was going off of tonight the fact that this has been a baseball team this season that just doesn't take care of their business and has blown so many games throughout the year. I mean, they've one of the 3 or 4 worst save percentages in the entire league. And, Ryan Presley came in, and there's nothing about Ryan Presley right now that inspires confidence. And I am sad, first of all, because I've always liked him a lot, watching him pitch. I fought with a lot of people for a long period of time because some people just like to be miserable and fight about things when it comes to pitchers. He's been an elite level pitcher for a lengthy period of time. And right now, he has been nothing close at all. I look at him. The Rockets he was giving up tonight. There was a little bit of a question mark, but also not a question mark, I suppose. Espada always talks about they might utilize Presley and Hader in different spots depending on how it kind of goes. And you could have made the argument that Hader should have gone in the 8th with the lefties that were due up there in the top of the order for the New York Yankees, and then you bring in Ryan Presley. I'm going to be honest, I'm glad they ended up bringing in Hader. But even Hader, when he lets the leadoff guy on there in the 9th, and, it gets all the way to second base, whatever, it just it didn't feel like it felt like, oh boy, here you go again. Something's going to happen. Something's going to go wrong, and they're going to find their way back to another loss. But it did not happen. And it's a glorious, glorious thing. And this weekend in Detroit, of course, against their former manager, A.J. Hinch, it's okay to still miss A.J. Hinch. I still miss A.J. Hinch. As a manager of baseball, but also as a human being, I was able to spend a lot of time. Spend a lot of time around Dusty and Joe Espada and AJ Hinch, and AJ was always my favorite because he would just sit there and just shoot the you-know-what with us for an hour before the game every day in the dugout, and it was just the best, the absolute best. He was as nice as it gets. The person that you hear talking is the same person that you get when there's no microphones in front of his face. And I'm glad that he's having some success now there in Detroit. And it's, part of the look ahead for this Detroit series. They're 19-18 right now on the season. It's going to be Casey Mize versus Fromber tomorrow night. Saturday it'll be Tark Skubal against Christian Javier, and then Sunday Justin Verlander versus Jack Flaherty. And of course, that's always an emotional game for Verlander to go back there and pitch in Detroit. You can't expect anything out of this team because they don't hit the baseball enough. But simply put, they can't afford to do anything but win 2 of 3. And if they could ever have their first 3-game sweep of a season, boy, oh boy, wouldn't it be this one before you head back home to play Oakland for 4, which again, I'm not going to sit here and say anything bad about Oakland. They're better than the Astros this season. They've been better than the Astros all season long, even if the talent levels aren't the same. I don't want to get greedy. I don't want to get whatever, but I'll give you this right now. If they go out and sweep the Tigers this weekend on Sunday's show, I will retract my words if they're not making the postseason. I'll say I still think that they're probably not going to. I'll think of something better between now and then. I just did this to myself on the spot, but hopefully they can get some wins in it. It's a tough Detroit team in a ballpark that, look, the Astros can maybe scratch out some runs because it's big and wide and open to an extent. So we'll see exactly what happens. Of course, tomorrow night when the game wraps up, join me right here again on the Locked On Sports Houston page for the Locked On Astros Postcast. Please, again, if you're new to the channel, you've joined us as we've moved along, hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're looking for this show in podcast form, search Locked On Astros anywhere that you get your podcast, and you can get this along with the Locked On Astros podcast as well. So enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. We'll talk again tomorrow night after Astros and Tigers right here on the Locked On Sports Houston page.